I don't care if it rains or freezes, as long as I got my plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car. Comes in colors pink and pleasant, glows in the dark cause it's iridescent. Take it with you when you travel far. Get yourself a sweet Madonna dressed in rhinestone satin on a pedestal of abalone shell. Going 90, I ain't scary, 'cause I got the Virgin Mary assuring me that I won't go to hell. Get yourself a sweet Madonna dressed in rhinestone satin on pedestal of abalone shell. Going 90, I ain't scary, 'cause I got the Virgin Mary assuring me that I won't go to hell.
Hi guys, how are y'all doing? My name is Samantha Salas.
And I'm Emmanuel Martinez.
And today we're going to be talking about a classic movie from 1967, which is Cool Hand Luke. Okay, so let's talk first about what is Cool Hand Luke. This is a story about this character called Luke Jackson, who is imprisoned for 2 years at a southern prison gang work farm. He is serving off his sentence for drunkenly decapitating parking meters. Yes, you heard it right, parking meters. Maybe he was tired of paying 25 cents. Maybe he didn't even have a car. You don't know. For whatever reason, he did it. He was sentenced to 2 years and was shipped off to this Florida camp. Right off the bat, we do realize that Luke has nothing to do with authority, does not want to have any relations with it. He is a soldier. He is an ex-military, yet he never moved up ranks, but he did receive the bronze medal, and he did receive a Purple Heart. But you can tell that he has nothing to do with it. He does not like it, so he would rather stay off to the sides. And if somehow authority gets in the way of him, he will retaliate. He will not take anything from nobody. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the actors themselves, and our main actors are Paul Newman and George Kennedy.
Okay, so those main actors that she just stated, Paul Newman and George Kennedy. In a note, George Kennedy won an award for Best Supporting Actor, but what we want to rely on the acting is that, or relaying, I should say, is that the acting itself, the actors and the supporting actors, I found that it was top of the notch because they really knew how to portray their roles. Luke or Dragline or the other characters, they knew how to make the story come to life and how to portray these characters without even, they probably had a little bit of background, but, out of mindset, how, and it impulsed their careers after this movie, because this movie did really well, as you'll hear later on, that this movie did really good with the audiences, and it really impulsed each and every one of the persons involved in this movie, their careers really went up.
Speaking about their careers and stuff, a very interesting thing that we did find out was that the budget for this film was $3.20 million. In this day and age, obviously, a movie will not cost that, it would probably not be enough for costumes, but we are talking about in 1967. Obviously, the money cost was a lot different. Everything was a little bit more cheaper back in that time. But when it did hit the box office, it almost tripled the amount, quadrupled the amount. They actually ended up selling in the box office 16.22 million, which is actually pretty incredible, if I say. So now, guys, we're going to be talking about the symbolisms inside Cool Hand Luke. The symbolisms are compared a lot towards the Bible, Jesus Christ, and God himself. So there is a part in the scene, it's actually a very famous part of the scene. If you haven't seen this movie, most likely you just know this scene itself. It is the part where he eats 53 eggs as a dare inside the prison. They're boiled eggs. It's a lot of eggs,
yes,
you know, and he's supposed to eat it in less than an hour or in exactly 1 hour. I mean, this is not humanly possible. You can't eat 53 eggs, you know. But either way, he does do it, and it's a dare. The inmates bet on it. Just, you know, they use that to keep themselves entertained. But what is very interesting is that the 53 eggs are the 53 inmates. This is when the idea of him being Jesus Christ and molding into it comes into play. 53 eggs, 53 inmates, and the eggs are actually him eating the eggs are actually him absorbing his sins. And in Jesus Christ, he died for our sins. So it's kind of like putting one and one together. And even at the end, when he finally eats the 53 eggs, he's obviously tired and he's exhausted for eating so many eggs that he's actually laid down on a table and in a cross-shaped form. So that's actually very interesting. You know, you don't really think of Cool Hand Luke as a very religious idea of a film, but the symbolisms are actually there. They're actually very, very clear once you actually see and really think outside of the box. Okay.
So now we're going to talk about a photo that he took at a bar with two girls, or two ladies. This photo was, he took it with the two girls, and it gave sort of like hope to the inmates as to when they were looking at this picture, they were like, there is hope that we can be like that someday. Because following the theory that he is some sort of like
Jesus-like
figure, this photo gave the people hope, the inmates hope, that maybe when one day they get out, they can be somewhat like Luke when he took a picture with those two girls.
And a little bit of background of the picture itself. He actually paid these women to take a picture with him. He worked while he escaped prison. He escaped prison actually 3 times. He escaped prison, and every time he went back to jail. But the second time he escaped, that's when he took the picture with these women. But he actually paid them to take the picture. He worked for the time that he was in prison, and then he ended up taking the picture, sending it to these inmates. You know, giving them a glint of hope, and you know, he doesn't want to be considered a hero. He doesn't want to be considered, you know, this leader. Yet he still does it in some way, in some form during the entire film. Like he is the person that people are looking up to. Another part in the movie is actually when Dragline and Luke actually get into a boxing match that the prisoners actually betted on Luke losing and not being able to get back up. This is where you kind of really do realize that Luke is not going to get defeated. It doesn't do well with authority. He doesn't like to be told what to do. He's getting beaten up, like he's getting destroyed, yet he still manages to get up every single time. And that's when you go back to the religious aspect of it. Jesus Christ, when he was going towards him being hanged, he did fall three times, right? Correct?
Yes.
He did fall 3 times, and he did escape, and Kohanuk did escape 3 times, you know? It's actually very interesting to see, like, how the comparison is so crazy, but it matches this perfectly.
Yes.
You know, he got beaten up, just as Luke and Jesus got beaten up.
Mm-hmm.
They escaped, well, he escaped 3 times. Jesus Christ fell 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And they still managed to find a way to give them hope to all these men, and you know, tell them that, you know, you don't have to give up. You don't have to, you know, only because the authority's telling you to do something doesn't mean that you have to do it. You don't have to, you know, get squished or any other way.
So, in this movie, the man without the eyes, he would always wear sunglasses, and it is said that the emotion, the body part that shows more emotion is the eyes. And in the film, I think it was towards the end, the man that was with the sunglasses took his sunglasses off, and that signified that he showed no emotion towards, you know, Luke.
Yeah, he was very violent towards them. He would beat them up. They would not respond well to him. But for whatever reason, he was a man with no emotion. They called him man with no eyes. So he does play a big role in the film. Finally, the last symbolism that we do see the entire film is that Luke always smiles. Yes, he always smiles. Every time he would escape, he was smiling.
Yes.
Every time he was proving something, he was smiling. Every time he would bring back to prison, he was smiling. And I mean, it's so insane because, you know, he is really, like, he never got defeated. You know, he went through being kicked, his ass kicked by Dragline. He was beaten by Man with No Eyes, and yet, you know, till the very end, till he got shot and killed, he kept smiling.
He smiled.
You know, it was something. It's, you know, just don't give up.
Yep, that's the main thing. Don't give up in the movie.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Hope you love this film review, and we'll see you all next time.
Look like, Drag?
Yeah, Drag, what do he look like? He had his eyes open and closed, Drag.
He was smiling.
Smiling.
That's right. You know, that Luke smile of his. He had it on his face right to the very end. Hell, if they didn't know it for, they could tell right then that they weren't ever going to beat him. That old Luke smile. Old Luke. He was some boy. Cool hand Luke L. He's a natural born world shaker.